energy slurping car. So what is my strategy with that? Am I going to maintain it full, or am I going to change my strategy? So I was thinking, how would those new developments with introducing EV, PV, storage, how would that influence your strategy on asset management, and in particular on replacement?
Yep. So essentially, our strategies are tailored to what outcomes need to be delivered through the assets. Part of the input in those strategies is the changing environment, it's the changing demand, it's the changing aspects of what you're talking about, new technologies. So our asset management strategies get reviewed every year, and as those external influences change, then we'll adopt a different way of managing the assets.
Hi, it's Matthew Searle from Arup. I just wondered if you could provide a little bit more colour on the risk management practices that you referred to in the presentation there. I think it's something that you're obviously developing, and I'd like to understand a bit more how you see that sort of developing for the future.
Yep. So as I mentioned, asset management is constantly changing and improving, and we have recognised that there are other players out there that are doing a lot of really good work in the risk space, and that's a targeted area for improvement. So essentially, there's probably three things that we're hoping to improve. So one is we're hoping to improve the alignment of the risks that we're assessing at the asset level with the corporate risk framework, making sure that we've got good coverage of all the key hazards across the business, and also then looking at better tools and methodologies to quantify the risk at that lower level, at the asset level, and how that fits back up into what the organisation is trying to achieve. I told you asset management was the best topic. I'm getting the most questions.
Thanks. Lance Hodge from Oakley Greenwood. I might be picking up on the question that came from that fellow from Jacobs down in the front. At what point do you start to look at some of what are being called emerging or disruptive technologies and start to think of them actively in your non-network planning rather than just in, an item to take care of in forecast? Do they have a role in that non-network space?
Yep, that's a question I'm going to be very happily deferring to Anthony when he gets up here. But in terms of the holistic view, the process that I described of identifying the risks and the needs, but then going through that process of identifying the options, of which the aspects you're talking about are one of those options. But as to detail around that, I'll leave that to Anthony.